but the reason I bring this up, to be honest with you, is not because I want to talk about the crash or anything like that. What I want to talk about, to be honest, and we can touch, there's a lot of things kind of surrounding this whole situation that are worth noting, but how about the effort that is coming from these guys? I mean, thank the good Lord that Justin Swanstrom was able to walk away from this crash uninjured. But have you guys seen what's going on behind the scenes right now? The effort,
man.
the thrash that is underway right now is unlike, I'm not sure the last time I've seen anything like it, man. For those that don't know, Justin had the car on a rollback a few minutes after this. They headed home either that night or the next morning back to Florida, got the car to Cameron Johnson Race Cars, disassembled it, started cutting stuff off of it. And the last I saw, this thing had new Toyota steel quarter panels on it. It had been front halved. I believe our friends Justin Elks and company out, Lyle Barnett and the gang at Modern Racing out in Mooresville, North Carolina, swooped into action, built a wiring harness remotely, laid it out on their jig and built the wiring harness remotely, boxed it up, overnighted it to Justin.
Well, that car was there at Justin's originally and was wired there at the Modern Racing shop. So they had all the measurements and everything they needed. But I think they went in on a Sunday and did that and had it ready, had it shipped to them yesterday or earlier in the week.
What do you guys make it? I mean, are you as fired up about this? Because, man, for all the shit that gets talked about young people, right? Millennials, pansy asses, don't want to get their hands dirty. All they do is run the keyboard. They don't know how to turn a wrench. I mean, you got a group of guys. I mean, and Justin's not alone. I was going to wait to talk about this to a little later, but another member of the Drag Illustrated 30 Under 30 alumni, Nick Taylor, had a really scary incident behind the wheel of Uncle Sam, his kind of beloved, but new really car to him.
That's become a very recognizable car.
Red, white, and blue. I mean, it's hard to beat a third generation Camaro. I mean, it kind of
a lot of big events.
It speaks to a lot of people, man. But unfortunately, at the War in the Woods, I believe it's called, at Brown County Dragway, the 6th running of this event, car got out of shape, down by the big end, not at all uncommon, washed out and got into the guard rail there at Brown County Dragway. Fortunately, the wreck wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been. The car turned broadside and hopped to a stop. The chutes were out and stayed right side up. Fortunately, again, Nick Taylor was able to walk away from this incident unscathed. But I spoke with Nick this morning, actually, and they cleaned that thing up the following morning. I mean, he loaded it up and headed home. The following morning, they were power washing it, cutting stuff off of it, assessing the damage, and are already well on their way to fixing the car. He was telling me something like a month. He was hoping to have the car race ready in a month. And I just want to say, everything that anybody has ever said about young racers is wrong. These guys are bad asses, right? I mean, this is an incredible
a lot of the comments
thing.
Are saying, and I haven't followed it. Well, first off, we're able to follow it so closely because Justin does. He's so on top of his social media. I think this may happen, other times we don't know about it. And he does such a good job documenting it and keeping everybody up to date. It becomes something to follow in and of itself. The rebuild and the heart that's going into that. They're talking about firing this thing up today. And I know that they're trying not to
wait, what?
Not to miss. Yeah. Supposedly there's
I've been working all day. So y'all been on Facebook.
Weekend. Yeah, they're
going to crank it up.
There's an outside chance that they're going to be ready for this weekend. I thought the original plan at best would be to be ready for National Trail in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whenever that is. But
where's the next race?
The Epping this weekend is the next race.
Oh my God. So they've got to go. That's like the other end of the world. Epping may as well be Shanghai. And that's a long way away from Florida.
I think a lot of teams went from Maple Grove up to Epping, probably kept their stuff up there and just are hanging out in the Northeast this week instead of having to, make that haul again. So yeah, they're having to.
I will tell you right now, if that happens, guys, you're talking about the feel-good movie of 2022. I don't know. Listen, Justin Swanstrom, Lil Country, I'm not letting go of that nickname. He is a polarizing figure in our sport, right? I mean,
big time.
He is very much a polarizing figure, not for everybody, a little rough around the edges, admittedly. But I'm going to tell you, man,
you don't want to be in the middle, man.
No, you don't want to be in the middle.
You want to be on one end or the other. This NPK deal is full of people like that. I think that's what makes it successful.
I'm so impressed with his willingness just to air things out. I mean, there are times that he says things I'm like, oh man, I don't know. But I get.
Sometimes he does it on purpose, I think.
Oh no,
He's
no dummy. He's a
yeah.
smart kid, and he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly. I mean, when he makes a post that gets him kicked off Facebook, he's not surprised. I mean, he knew and he did that for a reason to drum things up, and he's done a great job with this. But man, I just think that it's easy. As a second generation racer, someone who's kind of had their dad yank a tool out of their hand or tell them how worthless they are, they don't know shit, to see these young guys diving in and making this kind of effort to continue racing, how can you not feel like the sport of drag racing is in good hands? Like, I think we get worried at times that there aren't real racers out there. Like, I've had people say, like, well, who's going to be the next person to go racing or whatever? Who's going to be the next one of these guys? Man, they're everywhere. And if you think the sport of drag racing is dying or doing anything like that, you're looking in the wrong places. Quit going to nostalgia nitro meets. Right. And I'm not saying there aren't those that are very successful and very big, but like, go where the action is. I've always said that you have to be careful when you're taking the temperature of something. JT, you cook all the time. Does it matter where you put the thermometer?
Yeah.
Absolutely, right? And if you're taking the temperature of the sport of drag racing by sticking it in the center of the meat or whatever, I mean, it's probably cold in there. It's going to give it, you're going to have to take a while, but you got to get out on the edges sometimes. And not when you're cooking, but certainly when you're taking the temperature of the sport of drag racing, you can't just go to a singular same old place, right? I mean, but don't you agree? People, I see this a lot of commentary online, specifically social media, the home of bad news. And it's like, guys, get
the official home of bad news.
The official home of bad news.
We need to hit Zuckerberg up. Maybe that's the
I will. I'm going to shoot him a text right now. Yeah. He's been calling me all morning. This guy, it's unbelievable. But anyways, don't you guys agree? I mean, I've got a little bit of a proud parent moment. I'm just proud of these young guys that are fighting the good fight. And if Justin Swanstrom, if Little Country is able to pull this off, even the next race, it will be the result of a Herculean effort that we should all be screaming and yelling about. I don't care how you feel about the girls in tight shorts or whatever that hang out with him in the pits or what he says on social media. You should be a fan because these are the type of people. This story, I don't know that I've seen anything get our DMs blowing up the way this has. I got a WhatsApp message. I don't even look at WhatsApp. I got a WhatsApp message last night from somebody going, "Are you paying attention to what Justin Swanstrom's doing?" And I'm like, yes, I am. And I hope the whole racing world is.
He was giving autographs as his car was on the rollback. He sold the front clip for a $2 bill. I mean, just the stuff he does is pretty